The country celebrates its first majority rule holiday. A king is laid to rest. And the local organization celebrates 100 years of worldwide existence. The Bahamas Tonight starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
A brand new day for the country as Bahamians are observing the first majority rule holiday. Good evening, I'm Andrew Knowles and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight. It was a long time coming, but through an act of parliament last year, January 10th has finally received the recognition many say it deserves. Majority Rule Day is a time to reflect on the sacrifices and struggles of our forefathers in paving the way for the freedoms we now enjoy. Opal Roach gives us a history lesson on the road to majority rule.
47 years ago, a new day dawned, ushering in equality for all. There was a shift of power from the white minority to the black majority. At that pivotal point in Bahamian history, Sir Lyndon Pinling led the Progressive Liberal Party to victory over the United Bahamian Party. During that crucial 1967 general election, both parties were deadlocked with 18 seats each. However, Sir Lyndon convinced Labour leader, the late Sir Randolph Fox, and independent member the late Alvin Brannan to join the PLP, establishing a coalition government with a 20-18 margin. Such a step paved the way for equal opportunities to political, economic, social, and constitutional rights for all. Governor General Sir Arthur Folkes was one of those who led the cause. He reflects on yesteryears when things were quite different.
A lot of very bright people didn't have the opportunity for higher education. And I think that was the biggest scandal of all. Because if you want to subject the people, you keep them uneducated. Most of us in my generation had to leave school at the age of 14. That was the law. Very few were able to pass an examination every year. Just a handful from the population to go to government high school. And fewer yet were able to go to university.
Now, former Governor General Arthur Hanna was also one of those on the front line pushing for change.
In the early days, we had a beach we couldn't attend and go on to. You had to be, when I was growing up, you had to be off Bay Street before sunset. Usually the British brought in a lot of West Indian police. That is for their own protection. They didn't have too much confidence in Bahamian police.
The name Effie Walks is also associated with majority rule. The 89-year-old says she knows the struggle all too well.
Black people couldn't hardly get a job. It's just about few jobs was, and that was in government. And the only people really could have survived who really worked for government. But apart from that, by them selling little fruits and having little stand and thing and petty shops. That's the only thing they could have lived off of. And who had little farm.
I'm Opal Roach, ZNS Network News.
It started off as a widow's tribute to her husband, but it's now evolved into a state-recognized event fitting to be observed on the first majority rule holiday. Annually, Lady Marguerite Pinling laid a wreath on the grave of her late husband, Sir Lyndon Oscar Pinling, in remembrance of his life and contributions to the country. Jimenita Swain was at St. Agnes Cemetery for the service, which aired nationally.
A color party led the procession into St. Agnes Cemetery for the first state observance of the wreath laying at Sir Lyndon Pinling's mausoleum. Lady Pinling has marked the observance personally for more than a decade, but today things were more grand. Bahamians from all walks of life turned out for the ceremony that saw prayers for the nation and the family of Sir Lyndon. Dame Marguerite Pinling said January 10th, 2014 is a true liberation day.
As a people, we must remember that the dream which gave birth to January 10th, 1967, was to lift our people up to a better life. Thus, our work is far from over, Mr. Prime Minister. And as the journey continues, we owe it to our forefathers and mothers who once again rise up and unite as a people.
Prime Minister Christie said, arguably, with the exception of the emancipation of slavery, the most significant date on the Bahamian calendar is Majority Rule Day, 10th of January, 1967.
It is important in the calendar of a country that this date be memorialized, and the government of the Bahamas has seen to that. This is the first anniversary of it, and I would wish to applaud Dame Marguerite Pinling and all of those who every year stood with her at this gravesite in memory of the life and times of her husband, Sir Lyndon Oscar Pinling.
And with that, the wreath was laid at the mausoleum of Sir Lyndon, and Dame Marguerite was greeted by those who flanked her. Minister of Foreign Affairs Fred Mitchell outlined how this Majority Rule Day will be commemorated going forward.
In addition to the Junkanoo celebrations which bring in the day, there ought to be some solemn ceremony which marks the day. And we hope that this ceremony is fully embraced by the state. Some people say that because Sir Lyndon was a Progressive Liberal Party member, that the country has not moved on since his passing to the fact where he can be embraced as the father of our nation, belonging to all political parties.
Prime Minister Christie said history takes time to catch up, but it's now caught up in the observance of this occasion, remembering the father of the nation. Jiminita Swain, ZNS Network News.
This is the first time the Majority Rule holiday is being observed. Employees at Atlantis moved to host a Majority Rule Day banner competition between departments. Lady Marguerite Pinling, wife of the first Prime Minister, presented awards to those who participated. The first woman who registered to vote, Ruby Ann Darling, even showed what she wore when she voted. But both women who were pleased to be invited to the special exhibit.
1967 created that attitude and that opportunity, the opportunity you can be anything you wanted to be. You can, you still can. Just stay focused. Drag the young men along with you. Don't leave them behind. Don't drop the girlfriends to school and you go elsewhere. Go in. If only one night a week you go and do something. You got this country called the Bahamas. It's the most beautiful spot in the world.
That has brought us a long way, and I join with James Weldon Johnson, who said, God of our weary years and God of our silent tears, and this God who has brought us thus far on our way. And I say congratulations.
Thank you.
Posters, paintings, and reenactments depicted all things surrounding events that led to Majority Rule. Atlantis officials Candice Moss-Moultrie and Vice President of Labor Relations Tamika Forbes both say it was important to get staff involved in observing Majority Rule.
We have 6 different areas across our division, all that competed in this exhibit. What we were actually trying to do was to engender pride in our teams.
For our team members to have engaged in such a descriptive way and show their pride for Majority Rule was significant to us as a company. It's indicative of the culture that we as a property consistently work to instill in our 8,000 employees. And so we're proud today of our employees, and we celebrate with them Majority Rule.
Our first look at weather, we have that starlight front boundary over the extreme northwest Bahamas continuing to fire up 1 or 2 showers. But outside of our studios just now, we have partly cloudy skies, temperatures 77 degrees, relative humidity 83%. Your winds out of the east-southeast at 8 knots, barometric pressure 1,019.0 millibars. That's 30.09 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned. Temperatures around the Five Islands, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Coming up, find out what this is about. And later, a king is remembered. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can see.